Jesus Christ, you people suck.
Wow.
Wolverine on it.
Back in the days when we played video games, it was hardcore for the nerdy and lazy. Now things have changed and all our video games are also for the casual and lady.
But that's okay, you know the score. We told you a million times before. Playing consoles, not just games, is in the past. And every week you listen to the best damn internet radio crew. It's the N4G podcast. It's the N4G podcast.
It's time for another week of N4G Radio, episode 629 for November 30th, 2020, the last day of November. It's Christmas time.
In Hollis, Queens.
Mom's cooking chicken in Holland Green. Or is it chitlins in Holland Greens? You know the line?
I don't know the line.
Okay. I just want to make sure I wasn't butchering it. But on the show this week, we have Wombat.
Yep.
We got Drew.
Yes, sir.
And we got Anthony.
Yes. As you put a space in my name for some reason.
I don't know. I get into these rhythms of I don't even know why I say all right when the show starts. I've still never figured that out.
Yes, but if you stop it now, like, it'll drive me insane. I want you to know that.
I know. It would drive me insane if I didn't do it. Like, if I do a show and I don't do it, I'm like, I don't know where to go.
Yeah, I don't know about any of the other listeners, but when I listen to the show when I'm not on, alrighty then. It's like, that's just comfort food right there.
600 and some odd episodes. Come up with something eventually. I don't know. But video games, there's a lot of those going on. I can't even keep track of them all. And I think I can talk about some of them this week, but we'll start off with Drew.
Okay. So, all these brand new video games just come out. I ain't played any of them.
That's not good.
No.
Same, man. Same.
Mm-hmm. So, I did play. I wanted to try some games out that were on Game Pass. Basically, just to get some achievements because, well, I was going for the 1,000 quest. You know, get the 1,000 points on Microsoft.
Yeah. And,
well, I got it. But I had to, constantly do those quests, like the daily quest, the weekly quest, stuff like that. And, but I got it. It took forever, but I finally got it.
What's a month? You get a month to do it. So.
Yeah. It was like you had to do like so many daily quests, so many weekly quests. And the weekly quests are like, earn an achievement in Game Pass. Or earn this amount of achievements in Game Pass and stuff like that. So I loaded up Sniper Elite 4. Never played the 4. I'd played 2 and 3. And then the zombie one.
You kind of played 4 then.
Yeah, I was going to say, guess what you've played 4, bud?
Yeah, pretty much.
The only one that's different is the original. And that game is just built on a completely different engine because it's an old, like, PS2 PC game.
Yeah. Still fun.
Yeah. I mean, those games are a lot like Violet Pikmin. You only kind of need to play one.
Yeah. But I played the first mission of that.
As someone who also played Sniper Elite recently, I kind of resent the comparison to Pikmin.
I mean,
Pikmin 3 was much better.
I'm not saying it's not better. What I'm saying is, like, you only have to play one in the series
to get your fill.
To get your fill of that game.
I'm going to disagree with that too, but it's all right. We'll let that dog lie because it's a old game at this point.
Yeah, but I played that, and I started
Pikmin.
Yeah. And I just started going through my library just to see like what all I had, and I re-downloaded and it became addicted to again Diablo 3.
That game, I haven't reinstalled it since I got the Series X, but apparently it initially ran like at dynamic resolution. So now that it's on the Series X, it just runs at straight 4K nonstop,
Right.
which is crazy. I would love to see it. I just haven't had time to reinstall it.
It looks fine.
I have
It's-
to play it. I have it installed on my Xbox.
It's okay. You're not going to be wowed. I don't think.
Well, no, of course not. But
The
I
colors
see
really
games
look nice and stuff like that.
Of course, you wouldn't be wowed. It's Diablo, not
It's
WoW.
Diablo 3 from like, what's that game now? Like 100 years old or something?
I was making a joke about it being
World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft. I'm gonna go kill myself in the corner. This joke went over poorly. All right.
I mean, that's this show. All the jokes
Yeah.
go poorly.
But I became addicted to it because, well, I have got all the achievements, or I got most of the achievements on the PC version. I platinumed the PlayStation 4 version. Oh, that is melting my health bar right
The
now.
fucking lasers.
Yeah, those arcane lasers.
Lasers.
Arcane lasers, and
Me.
I absolutely love that game. Can't wait for. I get the feeling there is either a beta or
I don't know.
I would assume it would.
It was, like I said, it was supposed to be out this year, and then obviously COVID changed that,
Yeah.
and now we're like, well, what's going on with it? And they ain't said a word about that game. We haven't even seen that game since that little streamer thing where they all played it. And that's now well over a year old.
And that was just them playing the new multiplayer map, right?
Yeah, with not even all the characters, all the regular characters were in there, but they didn't have any of the new ones.
So there's only one new one, right?
No, they're going to launch with like 3 or 4, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they just haven't shown them yet. That's the thing, we ain't seen the game.
They've only showed the one.
And they didn't even show it being played.
No.
They just said this will be a character, but they said the reason why they're not doing any more for the first game is because they're going to launch the second game with like multiple characters.
Did they detail her at all? Is she
No.
an attacker? What?
They ain't said a word. They literally have not said a word about that game.
Hmm.
I think there was supposed to be a blowout at BlizzCon. Obviously, BlizzCon's not happening until next year. So, I don't know.
Yep.
When it comes out, I'll buy it and switch over. But other than that, I'll just keep playing the other one.
Yep, me too. But I played some Overwatch. Like I said, we finished up Sunset Overdrive last week. We're taking the week off to let Matt finish up with NaNoWriMo, and then we're going to be doing Dead Space 3. I'll be honest with you, that's about it. In my spare time, I played Diablo 3, a 10-year-old game at this point.
I'm pretty sure it's older than that, isn't it?
No, it came out in 2011, right?
Is it?
Pretty sure it's 2011.
It
pretty
feels
sure I was
older.
I'm pretty sure I was working at Target, so I think that's right.
Diablo 3.
That game feels older than it is.
Excuse me, May 15th of 2012.
Wow, it definitely feels older than that. But then
So-
again, games that came out at the beginning of this year feel ancient. So
That's true. That's very true.
All right. Well, I will move over to Anthony then.
As you can see, I'm playing a game called Wordle.
No, I can't see that.
It says on Discord, bud.
Oh, I'm not looking at Discord.
All right,
sorry.
well then, never mind. That is a word puzzle game. Boring. Anyways, what else have I played? This week, I swear I finished everything that I'm going to do in Sunset Overdrive. I played all the DLC, and then I packed that shit up.
All right.
It's I don't know. The first DLC was more coherent and like a better package, in my opinion. The second round of DLC was robot based.
I did not like that DLC at all.
The robot one.
Yeah, I did not like that at all.
Yeah, the tone of it was not great. It was like more leaning into references. They gave you some cool weapons, but like I hated the characters that they had you working alongside. It just didn't. it leaned on like when I say lean on references, I don't mean like that they used references. Like the reference was the content. I hate that shit. Ready Player One, Ready Player Two, and it was like there was a moment I sent Drew. I'm like, so they just did the scene from Office Space where they break the printer. Like that was how old of a reference at this point?
I mean, everybody's done that.
Yes,
joke.
that's the reason why you should stop doing it.
Nobody's gonna stop.
Oh, fucking hell! And I didn't think the ending was very good. The ending boss battle was what started off like the best boss battle and ended as the worst. And I'm curious to know who played that on PC, because I have questions about it that I couldn't get an answer from like a basic Google search, because that final boss in the DLC is very Xbox heavy to the point where the character says, "Xbox, can you give me a gun?" So I'm interested to know that, but otherwise, like, that kind of ends on a wet fart. And that was it. And it's got some of the best weapons in the game. And now I have no reason to use them. So that was a bit disappointing. I played some Crash 4.
That's good.
That's a very good game. I'm very bad at it. But boy, is it pretty. I love the humor in it. And I want to play more, even though I'm very bad. And I also started up. I played a couple of things, actually. I played a little bit of Ace Combat. I'm very bad at that.
Which one?
The Game Pass one, so the newest 6.
Oh, okay.
And very
It's a
bad
good
at
game.
that. I think I need to switch to the actual, like, more realistic, as they quote unquote, controls, because it didn't feel right just kind of pointing my, like, trying to just fly normally, like the turning and everything.
How many missions have you finished in that game?
I didn't finish one because I was like, this feels off.
Okay, let me just tell you that the further when you get in a little bit further, that game throws up a frickin' wall, and the one of the missions, I don't remember if it's like the 8th or 9th mission, made me just stop playing.
Oh, really?
And I was enjoying the game, but it's hard to the point that it's not fun. And they've got you doing, like, there's too much to focus on. And it wasn't. I'm sure there's going to be some people that just tell me to get good, and I'm sure that's true. But it was to the point where it wasn't fun for me anymore, as much as I love the rest of the game. And I'm a big flight sim guy. That's one of my favorite genres. So
I guess my expectation, I will say this, my expectation and what I got were two different things. I was kind of, just because I know the series a little bit, like I've never actually played them, but I kind of know how they existed for a long time. I thought it was going to be more like Earth Defense Force, but fighting other planes, just because of how many of those games they pumped out for a while on PS2. So I played a little bit of that. It was like, this is good, but I don't know if I like the controls, and I kind of wish I'd put on the more realistic ones. And then I tried it out because I wanted to know, because it was on sale on PlayStation, and the PlayStation has the VR included, and I wanted to know if I should pick it up. And then once I played it, I was like, I'm just going to play this on Game Pass.
Yeah, and the VR is not actual, like, it's not the full game in VR.
No, it's about 3 hours, I've heard.
Yeah, I haven't actually played it yet, but I know it's not the full game.
And then I played a little bit of Dead Rising 4. So that's kind of it. Yeah, I know, what a weird combination of crap. I totally don't know why I played what I played. I was just like, yep, there, let's play that.
I mean, we all got these video games, we should play them.
Yep. That's it for me.
All right,
more Tetris Effect, because I like going online, and that's my online game of choice.
That's like your Overwatch?
Wouldn't go that far, but sure.
Nobody goes that far.
Trying to get back to the top 3% in one of the categories. I think I dropped to top 7%. And it's
Oh,
only
shame.
well, I got rolled by one person who I was not expecting to be as good as they were. And I was like, oh yeah, and then I dropped one piece wrong, and I was like, and there it is. That's where the end. I was doing pretty well. I was holding up, and then I dropped one piece in the wrong spot, and went, I'm fucked. And absolutely I was. And there was no return. So, yep. That's how it goes.
Well, then we'll move on to the Wombat.
All right. So I played some more Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I'm about 6 hours into that game and have done nothing of consequence as of yet. Just kind of sailing around and not going to my first objective, first primary objective.
You still haven't even completed the. You haven't got the title crawl yet?
Oh no. Again, I'll mention this. So when you first start the game, there's like a little intro, and then it skips ahead, and then some things happen, and the first like real big mission objective you're given is go back home. I was given that mission objective 6 hours ago, and just now went back home.
We need to hinterlands this shit, okay?
Yeah, I know. But so I've been enjoying what I played, and I did switch it to performance or fidelity mode with the new patch, and it looks very, very pretty.
I can't. After playing Assassin's Creed in 60 FPS, I will never turn that on.
Yeah, see, I'm not frame sensitive at all.
Yeah, but the combat is better.
See, I don't notice that stuff like everybody else does. I just
I don't know how you can't.
I just don't. Like, everybody talks about frame rate all the time and how much more playable everything is at 60 versus 30, and I swear to God, if you put both of them next to each other, I would not be able to tell you the difference.
I think we're going to take you to a doctor.
Maybe so. I do have amblyopia, so maybe that's the problem. But
yeah, I can't.
I genuinely can't tell the difference. Now, the only time I can really notice frames is when it falls off a cliff and it's like a slideshow. Then I notice frame rate. But as long as it's not that, I don't notice the difference.
You thought the internet was coming after you for the other thing. They're really coming after you now.
It's not to say that there isn't a difference, just that I don't notice it. So, speaking of frame rate, I also played Legend of Zelda, or Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, the demo.
Oh my god!
Which was a very meaty demo.
Yeah.
And genuinely, I only noticed the frame rate being an issue a couple of times.
You're broken, Ryan. I'm just gonna say right now, you're fucking
I'm sure
broken.
that I am. Like, there were a couple times when I was playing with Zelda where it's like, oh yeah, it's like everything just slowed down to a crawl. But other than that, I didn't really notice it. That being said, I mean, it's a Musou game, and some of the characters are pretty fun to play as. But that's, really about all I can say for it. If it's ever, which it won't be because it's a Nintendo title, but if it ever drops way down in price, I might pick it up.
Yeah, that'll never happen.
Other than that, I played some more Godfall in advance of review, which continues to be a launch game. Again, it's fine. It plays well. It's Diablo or not Diablo. It's although it does have a little bit of Diablo. It's Destiny with clubs and swords instead of guns. The biggest criticism that I have of the game above everything else is I understand why they did it from an aesthetic standpoint, but the decision to not have you also collect loot in the form of armor pieces is really stupid.
You gotta get your vapor plates.
Yeah, I mean, Valor plates.
I thought they were vapor plates.
Valor plates.
Oh, fuck it. It's vapor plates now.
To replace, one of the, at least for me, one of the primary draws of any loot game is how it makes my character look.
Yeah.
And there's that level of, oh my god, that's awesome when you finally get a couple armor pieces to match that are also the highest level armor pieces you have in your inventory. And this game just throws all that out and says you can only use these matching armor sets, and they have different attributes that go along with them, and they look cool mostly. But it's like, I'm going into these different worlds and gathering these pieces that I need to unlock these armor plates, and it just doesn't have the same drive as it would if I were collecting pieces of armor that customize the way my character looks as I go along. And I've always, in games like this, been much more drawn to, ooh, I got a new piece of armor, let me see what it looks like, compared to, ooh, I got another of this type of weapon that attack-wise does the exact same thing. It just does it with a little more damage.
Ooh, a piece
will
of
never
armor.
understand.
Ooh, a piece of armor.
Yeah, I will never understand how these games don't get that. Like, that was one of the biggest things about Marvel's Avengers.
Yeah,
it's like
that's a good point.
You're getting this armor, and you'll see like a hologram of it over your character, but it doesn't change their appearance. It's like, I know that's stupid, but we, as gamers, we love to play dress up.
Yeah, it's a huge part of the experience, I think, in any loot game.
Yeah, like you look at Injustice 2, like remember all the combinations you would put together for the character, like Diablo, you would put all these combinations together, and you're like, man, my dude looks cool.
And like, it's funny because I think I even said it, and I'm wrong. I think I might have said something along the lines of like Marvel wanting to keep their characters kind of like brand, strong. There's a mobile game that's like a 3-on-3 arena, so mobile MOBA sort of game. And it's showing character creation. Like, it's showing you, like, you can customize Spider-Man. And I'm like, what the fuck would in your big title do that same thing?
Yeah, and I mean, I think, Ken just name-checked it, but Injustice proved that you can still customize the way famous superheroes look and do it in a way that's consistent.
I think the only thing there is that like DC has been a little bit more. DC and Warner Brothers are a little bit more forgiving on how characters are presented than Disney/Marvel.
I don't disagree with that, but I don't think
I guess I
don't think there's any of those customizations in Injustice that make characters unrecognizable as who they are. Like, even with the customizations, you can tell that Batman is Batman. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I tend to think you can get away with more customization on these characters and still have them feel true to themselves than I think some of these brands actually think you can.
Oh, I agree. I was saying that more as I'm not surprised Warner Brothers did that, not so much of, well, that's the only reason why Warner Brothers did that. Like, you're right. They all look like my Flash, who has like a full face mask in Injustice 2, because it was cool. He wears a full face mask. Like, there's no skin showing anymore. But it's still clearly the Flash. And what I really liked about that is that they were referencing the one-off and the like, oh, well, in this issue, the Flash wore a different costume, so we have that here, or Elseworlds, or all this other stuff, which Marvel does do, so it doesn't make any sense. But I love that fact. I love doing that in Mortal Kombat, which, I mean, isn't the same sort of thing. They can't pull from all those places, so it is just new designs coming in. I love that. And, it's funny, because even with something like Borderlands, where it wasn't really a lot of customization, there was some, but I liked firing new guns just to see the like how it fired differently, which I know seems weird because there's stats to the weapon as well, but like all the guns do have a different firing pattern for the most part. So it was like, I got a new gun. Oh, it's got some red text. Well, now I need to just fire this at least once to see how it works. And if that's not there, I don't see the benefit in loot.
Yeah, and the you know, I thought that Assassin's Creed Odyssey handled it very well after updates, in that not only did you get, you know, cool new pieces of armor to equip, but you could transmog any of the armor that you had on into looking like any previous piece of armor you had found. So if you found a piece of armor that you thought looked cool, but then found a different piece later that had better stats, you could make the decision on whether to wear it the way it was or transmog it into another piece of armor you had previously found, which I thought was a cool way to handle that sort of progression. But you know, they decided not to do that with this game.
I have a weird question for you.
Sure.
Is it multiplayer, this game?
It is, yes.
That
yeah,
might
you
be
can
why.
play, I think, with up to 4 people. Yeah, but I mean, you can still have custom armor and have it be multiplayer. It's
multiplayer against each other?
cooperative.
Oh,
Not,
never mind.
yeah, like you it's like Destiny, right? Where you go in and you
do the raids or whatever together.
You
but
go through the levels and
oh god, there's no like battling each other.
There may be. I'm not quite sure. I haven't dove into that piece if there is yet.
I don't think there is. I think it's just straight PvE.
Because that would be the only reason why I could see the armor transmog stuff not making a lot of sense. But otherwise, I think that should have been a thing they thought of.
But isn't that in Destiny? And Destiny is PvP.
Yeah, 100% it is.
Oh, well then fucking, I don't know what I'm talking about. You should have shut me up 4 minutes ago.
You can absolutely do that. And
that's
there's
good.
nothing, I mean, it's in a game like in a looter game, it's kind of it's not like Fortnite, you know what I mean? Like it's expected that in a loot game like this, even if it does have competitive multiplayer, that somebody who has better loot is going to outperform you. It's not the like level playing field multiplayer that a game like Fortnite or something like that would need.
Playing field in Fortnite. The kids are too damn good. I can't play it.
Being able to visually see what the other person has and going, "Oh, I'm fucked." That's the reason why I was saying it. Not like knowing that you're outmatched by just what the person has. I should say.
I mean,
that would be the only thing logically I could understand making you like, "Oh, you can't transmog because everybody needs to know what you have on."
Yeah, I don't. So again, I don't necessarily disagree with you, but play Fortnite with any kid who's played it a lot, and they can tell you just by the skin the person's wearing how good somebody is. And there's no benefit whatsoever to any of those skins. It's just a look. But it's like, oh, this guy has this soccer skin, which they could only get in Season 2. Playing it anymore, really. They're mostly playing Ark.
Oh, God.
Which, yes, I know. Oh, my God. My son and his friends love Ark, man. They play, like, that's the majority of what they play anymore. Sometimes they play Apex Legends. Sometimes they play Overwatch. Sometimes they play, Minecraft or, Human Fall Flat or stuff like that. But their go-to game generally is Ark.
That's crazy to me.
And it looks terrible and performs terrible.
Which is funny because like they just put out a patch for the next gen consoles and I booted it up because I'm always curious. I booted it up. I'm like, wow, this still looks like complete dog shit.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is that game. It has some cool ideas in it.
Sure.
And some cool, like if they didn't look so pixelated and jaggy, some cool designs for some of the like dinosaurs and. My son found a couple wyverns and they look pretty cool. But at the same time, it's like, you can't go more than like that's a game that I noticed the frame rate in.
You want to hear something funny? And I thought about this the other day. The guys that made that game made another game. Remember that?
I don't.
Atlas. Remember that game? The pirate game?
It was just the same game.
I know, but like it completely flopped.
Good.
I didn't know that was them at all.
Oh,
Yeah. Atlas was them, and it's essentially the same game except you're pirates now, right?
It's not essentially the same game. It's literally the same game to the point where hackers were bringing in stuff from Ark to what was supposed to be a pirate MMO.
Yeah, the only reason I remember it is because I was looking through the Black Friday sales on Xbox, and I saw it. I was like, "Oh my god, I forgot about Atlas." That's okay because the entire gaming world forgot about Atlas too.
And then to continue, I'll use that as a segue too. Another game made by people who also made a different game. See how I did that?
You mean all games almost?
Almost.
He's played all the games, everybody.
I did finish this week. I finished Pathless, and sent my review to Ken on that last night. It took me about 6 hours. And I feel like I'm in a weird spot about that game where I feel like the length was perfect for the content that they had, but I also feel like they could have done a better job expanding some of the content and made the game longer. I think, a lot of times I play games and I think, man, this is a 6-hour game that they stretched into 10 or 15 hours. This is a game that I played and I thought, man, with the underlying kind of system here, they probably could have put some more content in a couple of these places, some more varied content in a couple of these places, and extended it out a little farther, especially for $40. That said, I really enjoyed it. I think the gameplay is really fun. It's, there's a lot of free running where, I don't remember now if I've walked through what the gameplay is like on this show yet, but I'll do it again quickly. The essentially high level, you're the hunter, quote unquote, and you have a bow and arrow, and you have an eagle friend, and you have to try to lift this curse from this island. And part of that curse are the former sort of gods / forest spirits that guard each plateau have been corrupted. And so you have to cure them of their corruption before you get to the final boss. And essentially what you do is you run around collecting these talismans by doing puzzles. You put the talismans into towers. Once you unlock 3 towers, you can fight the boss, is at a high level how it works for each plateau. And there are, hold on, I got to think, 1, 2, 3, 4 tall ones is what they call them. And then the final boss. But the puzzles basically let me get back to traversal. So as you're running around point to point, you have a stamina bar, and your character moves really slow unless you're holding the left trigger, and then she runs really fast, but it drains your stamina bar pretty quickly. And so to keep the stamina bar full, you have to keep shooting at these targets that are just scattered throughout the world. And so you run, and there's no aiming. You just hold down the right trigger when you want to shoot, and she'll lock on automatically to the closest target and shoot at it. And so there's like this rhythm to running through, shooting targets, keep running, shoot a target, run, keep shooting a target. When you jump, if you shoot a target in midair, it kind of gives you a little bit of boost in the air. You eventually unlock the ability for your eagle to flap its wings and carry you higher up in the air. Multiple number of times depending on how far in the game you get. And so you use all these different sort of traversal mechanics to make your way through the world. Every now and then, at least a couple times each level, there's this big sort of glowing sphere in the middle of the plateau where the boss is sort of living at that moment. And if you get too close, which you often have to do to get to the next set of talismans, the globe expands and you get sucked into it, and your bird gets thrown away, and you have to try and sneak your way to your bird without this giant monster seeing you. So there's like a kind of a spotlight effect, and you have to try and stay out of the spotlight, sneak your way to the bird, save it, and then you pet it to clean it, and you can go on about your business. Once you unlock 3 towers, you go into the actual boss battle mode. Every boss plays out the same way. There's a chase sequence where you're free running and chasing the beast as it's running away, and you got to get close enough to shoot targets on its side to knock it down. Then it goes into like the first part of the arena battle where you kind of fight it. And then it usually goes into a third phase where it changes up a little bit. So for one of the bosses, after you get them to the third phase, it turns into you have to sneak through this castle while it's trying to blow fire at you and hide behind things so that you don't get blown out by the fire. For another one of the bosses, it's got 6 heads, and you got to try and cut the heads down before you get hit, like without getting hit. So that, plays out over the course of 6 hours. Ultimately, you fight the final boss. And I think that they could have extended it out, but the problem is the puzzles that you have to solve for the talismans are honestly pretty much the exact same combination of things, just rearranged. So there's usually some combination of shooting a torch, like there'll be torches that are kind of lined up, or you have to find the right angle to line them up, and you shoot an arrow through a lit one to light one that's not lit. Or you have to shoot through a series of rings, and you have to manipulate the rings and the angle you're shooting at to shoot through, 3 before it hits the target. Or there's a mirror that you have to angle your arrow off of to hit something. And so usually there are puzzles that only involve one of those. And then there are puzzles where you've got to use mirrors to have arrows that are lit on fire light other torches on fire, so you can position rings in the right direction to shoot the target, where they combine everything all together. The problem is those 3 things, and then having your eagle like carry a weight to put on a button so you don't have to stand on it, are really the only puzzle pieces. So it's just endless combinations of those sort of 4 things. And so, by the time you get to the last set of puzzles, they've really kind of worn out their welcome. I will say it does kind of end at the right time. I just wish they had sort of expanded on that toolkit. Even if they had just doubled the different things that you could do, they probably could have extended the time a little bit, which I think would have been pretty important for a game that's $40. But other than that, I did enjoy it. I think, if it had been 20 instead, I'd tell everybody to rush out and buy it. At 40, it's a little harder for me to make that call. But if you're intrigued by the look of it and you like the puzzles, you'll find a lot to enjoy. It's just, kind of repetitive and short for $40.
Is it a lot of exploration, or is it all kind of fairly linear?
No, it's definitely not linear. There's
Okay.
not even a map. So your character within the first half hour gets this visor that allows her to have spirit vision. And so when you want to know where to go next, you basically just have to, and it helps if you get somewhere high, you look through the spirit vision and you'll see like red glowing in places that have like puzzles to solve. And that's how you know, oh, okay, I need to head over there. But you can tackle the puzzles in any order you want. You can do the towers in any order you want. I actually, they generally make the next plateau, so the next boss's area, so high up in the air that you can't really get to it without this giant sort of vortex that unlocks when you beat the boss before it. But eventually you get enough flaps midair that you can get to some of that stuff without even beating the prior boss. So I had a couple scenarios where I got a little bit lost and didn't realize that I had made my way up so high that I was actually on the next boss's level. and unlocked some talismans for that boss before I really realized, oh wait, this is not the same boss that I'm supposed to be fighting. So it's definitely not linear. You can go any direction you want to.
Okay. I'll probably wait for a sale. It's just by how you're talking about it, I'm glad I didn't go out and pick it up right away. But I wouldn't be playing on new hardware anyways. I'd be playing on old hardware.
So I will say it looks incredibly pretty. The art direction is stellar. The boss design is really cool. It tells the story it tells is actually pretty interesting. It just doesn't have as much meat on the bone as I think they could have had. If they added some more lore, that would have been another thing that could have probably pushed it to a little bit longer. Maybe they'll make a sequel. I don't know, but it has a pretty interesting story to tell. It's just a little bit shallow in terms of content.
Yeah, I don't think they'll do a sequel. Giant Squid doesn't usually do sequels.
Right. Yeah, and the ending of the game could go either way in terms of leaving it open for a sequel. So I could see them picking it up, and I could see them also not. So the only other thing I'll talk about is some PS5 stuff. I had my first this morning scenario where yesterday I took the risk and I closed all my apps and games, but I kept my system on rest mode so I could charge the controller. And when I booted it up this morning, I got no picture. And
that rest mode is fucked.
So I hit the power button, it reset back into rest mode, I powered it up again, and I had no picture. So eventually I had to hold the power button until the system hard shut down, boot it back up. It had to do its database rebuild, and then I was able to actually get a picture and get back into it. Which they gotta fix this. I mean, I'm a person unlike Ken who kept my PlayStation 4 in rest mode all the time. And never really had any trouble with it on the PlayStation 4 side. The only time I ever had trouble with it on the PS4 side was if we lost power or if it accidentally got unplugged. Or we have a couple of the outlets that we use at this house for some of these electronics are attached to switches inexplicably. And so sometimes somebody hits the wrong switch and turns all the internet off in our house or that kind of stuff. But generally, I never had any trouble. So to have this kind of issue with rest mode on this brand new system is pretty annoying. Some more PS5 stuff. And this one I kind of take the blame for because I'm cheap. But because I'm a cheapskate, I bought the PlayStation 4 version of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, knowing that I would get the PS5 one for free. And so I have a PS4 disc for Assassin's Creed Valhalla that I have to have in my PlayStation in order for the PlayStation 5 version of Valhalla to run. Yesterday, I got insanely frustrated in Valhalla because I couldn't find the performance or fidelity choice. And I'm like, where the fuck is this? I know that it's in there. I'm looking through patch notes. I'm like, this is the patch I have. Why can't I not find this? Only to realize I was playing the PlayStation 4 version.
Yeah, that whole system is fucked.
And I had previously, I thought, deleted the PlayStation 4 version from my system. So I don't know if it reinstalled when I put the disc back in, which is my guess.
Yep.
So now I have to make sure that every time the disc comes out and the disc goes back in, that I switch to the PlayStation 5 version instead of the PlayStation 4 version. And it's like, okay, I get it. But I'm putting a PlayStation 4 disc in the system. But at the same time, you see that I have the PlayStation 5 version. Why would I ever want to play the PlayStation 4 version?
Yep.
Anyhow, it will, though, be handy on Spider-Man that I have the backwards compatible PlayStation 4 version because I can do the save bullshit from the same system. But on Assassin's Creed, I literally, it probably took me, 7-8 minutes before I realized I was a dumbass.
What's funny about all this is like how many times did Microsoft get laughed at for smart delivery? And now Smart Delivery's over in the corner going, "I fucking told you."
Yeah. Oh, for
Like
sure.
there's
It's-
one
I mean,
version of the game. There's one version of the game, and you get the version that is optimized for your machine.
right. So, anyway, I'm trying to think if I played anything else. The only other thing I played was MLB 20, which again I mentioned last week. The load times on PS5, even non-optimized, are tremendous, and that's a game that can have some pretty aggressive load times. So for it to load as snappy as it does is awesome, and definitely makes me want to play the game more. So I'm looking forward to the next gen version of that game.
All right, is that it?
The next yearly installment. Yeah, I think that's it, because I talked about having beat Miles Morales last week. I guess, I mean, the only other thing I kind of played was I went back and played a little bit more Dragon Quest XI on the Switch, probably another 2 hours or so. But, 2 hours in that game is like nothing. So that's really it.
That comes out this week. On the other consoles. I'm looking
What,
forward
Dragon
to
Quest 11?
11S. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been playing.
Oh, the one with
I think I'm allowed to talk about it.
The one with the 16-bit version?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm picking up the physical copy. I'm excited to see the differences.
It's neat. I like the 16-bit version of it. I'm not playing in that mode. I'm playing in the 3D mode, just because I feel like it's pretty obvious that the game was built with the 3D mode intended, and then the 16-bit version was added in later. So there's some of the like cutscenes sound a little bit goofy because of what they can show in 3D versus what they can show in 2D. But it is still a pretty cool nostalgia trip.
Yeah.
Plus, that game is pretty in 3D. That's the other thing.
Yes. And you're playing the less pretty version,
Right.
by all accounts.
Yeah, and it's still, I mean, especially on in handheld mode, it still looks great.
Oh yeah, I mean, say what you will about Kira Toriyama and his ability to only draw one or two faces. His artwork translates to video games perfectly. I mean, look at Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Like that game looks amazing as well. But I'm excited because there's just more content overall in Dragon Quest XI-S. Like all the side missions and everything.
Yeah.
So that's part of the reason why I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, the 16-bit version. I was honestly disappointed that they never brought the 3DS version out over here. At least they've saved the 16-bit version from there. Because it was like a whole different game where like the 16-bit version was on the bottom screen and the top screen was like chibi versions of all the characters, like in 3D.
Which is a cool idea.
Yeah. So I was really disappointed that never came out. So I'm glad that that's been saved at least. So I'm looking forward to that next week.
Yep. So yeah, but that's it for me. Nothing else.
All right. To continue on your PS5 story, so I noticed an interesting thing. I don't know if any of you all got, Wombat, you're the only one who has one on this show, an external drive plugged into the PS5?
Yeah, I do.
All right, so check this out. I've got two external drives. One's a 4, one's a 2 terabyte. I decided, I don't know why, but I hooked up the 4 to the PS5. Man, I love all this shit. Fuck you, Craig.
Fuck Craig.
So yeah, PS5. It's a little bit of a buggy mess. Which we have questions about that later in the show, so we'll talk some more about that later. I'm gonna go ahead and run through my stuff. I don't have indie games to go through this week. I'm assuming because it was a holiday, we didn't get the codes, so whatever. Maybe we'll talk about those next week. Most of the stuff I've been playing like regularly is I've been going back to a lot of the stuff. I'm playing more Valhalla. I like that game. I think it's good. I don't think I love it as much as Odyssey and Origins. Definitely don't love it as much as Odyssey. playing more Yakuza. That game is going to be way up on my list of games of the year. The game is still amazing. I still play Dirt 5 on a regular basis, which is kind of crazy. I did get a chance to screen the Insert Coin documentary that came out. If you don't know what that is, I'll be writing a little piece up about it on the website. But basically, it is a documentary about the rise from Williams to Bally Midway, basically from pinball tables up through stuff like NBA Jam, Mortal Kombat, and stuff like that. It is a very interesting documentary. They have some great interviews on there. Obviously, the big one they did not get was Ed Boon. He is not in it. But Mr. Cybot is. Mr. Tobias is in it a lot. But if you grew up playing any of those arcade games from stuff like Defender, Pinball, through things like Smash TV, Narc, they even do a bit on the Grid and War Gods, which I found very interesting.
Wow, War Gods.
Yeah, and they also the explanation of War Gods was perfect because within Midway, the management made it a cutthroat, like you versus you kind of mentality, and the team that built War Gods was assigned to do it because they were trying to capitalize on Mortal Kombat. But the team that built it was not allowed to have any help from the team at Mortal Kombat because obviously they didn't want them to do better than they did. So it was a very interesting story. It's a long documentary. It's very good. If you know anything about that era, it is definitely worth watching. And also, I did not realize how much Mark Turmel actually did during that time. But no, it's really good. If you have any interest in that old arcade scene, I definitely recommend checking it out. It is currently only available on demand at like the Alamo Draft House on demand, which is kind of weird. I think that's kind of a disservice to it. I think if they would have put it on like other services, like even if you're paying for it, because obviously you have to pay for it, but like put it on a Vudu or on a YouTube or something that people can watch at other places, because currently only being available on an on-demand website of a theater may not be the most exposure that you're probably looking for.
I don't even know if that's available in Canada.
What's a
because of that type of
website?
stuff.
It's a website.
Well, it doesn't matter though. Then I have to start doing VPN shit, and like, yes, I can do it. It's annoying having to like jump through hoops to watch something that I'm going to pay for.
Yes, and I agree. I really think they should get better distribution for this. I mean, put it on YouTube and put it behind a paywall. YouTube can do that. So, but anyway, that thing, really good. If you have the means, check it out. It's very cool. And then this podcast is not going live until noon because, hey, Immortals, Phoenix Rising, I can talk about that game. I finished it and wrote my review this weekend. And Ghosts of Tsushima and Immortals Phoenix Rising are going to be my headbutting right now for Game of the Year.
Nice.
How
long is it?
It took me 22 hours to finish, and I didn't do everything.
Wow.
So, Drew, what were you going to say?
I just said that good, huh?
It's very good. I could not stop playing it. Like every time I would stop to go play something else, I would just immediately come back to it. And like I told you guys last week, it is essentially the team that made Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which makes me really excited for whatever they're going to do next, because Assassin's Creed Odyssey is probably one of my favorite in the series. And Immortals Phoenix Rising is now my favorite thing that they've done. And it is essentially, what if that team went and made a Breath of the Wild game? Down to the fact that there are shrines throughout the level. There are 4 gods you have to release. Each god has a massive puzzle-based temple that you have to complete in order to finish their quest line. You basically get every power you're going to get throughout the game within the first hour, and then you spend time upgrading them. The combat is very fast and fluid. It feels good. You've got a lot of cool moves. You get a bird, and the bird is not used to like spot things, but it's actually used to attack things. Also, it's really cool when you start gliding across the world that he like flies up and flies next to you in uniform. I think that's really cool. My favorite part of the game, though, is the way the story is told, which is kind of funny, Drew. You're the only one that will get this reference, but while I was playing this game, I was also rewatching some Supernatural, and I watched the Remember the Titans episode. And the story of Immortals Phoenix Rising is Prometheus being chained to the top of the mountain and Zeus coming up there to talk to him. And basically they make a bet on whether Phoenix can stop the god Typhon. And the way the game is told is Prometheus like narrating what Phoenix is doing and the world around her or him. You can play as either. But he's narrating that story while Zeus is talking to him, and it's basically played out like a comedy where Prometheus will make assumptions about different things and Zeus will be talking about what kind of a deadbeat dad he is. And like the comedy behind it is really well done. Like I genuinely chuckled several times at the comments that were made. Now there are some eye-rolling moments of things like, okay, yeah, you're making a reference to that, but the way they kind of weave in like modern stuff with the old stuff, like Zeus talking about his drinking problem, it's just, like little things like that, and it's told so well. And it reminds me a lot of in Bastion, like when you do something that Prometheus will make a comment and then Zeus will make a stupid off-color joke. And it's so perfectly weaved when you're playing through it. The story remains interesting from beginning to the end. And like the visuals match that. Like it has a really kind of cartoony, like over-exaggerated look to a lot of the characters. And the world is just beautiful. So on Xbox Series X, it has two modes, like everything else does. It has a fidelity mode and a performance mode. In the performance mode, I mean, this was the dream, right? When we got these new consoles, seeing large, massive open world games running at 60 frames per second. And this game does that. And it's incredible. The little shrines that you can go into are actually like miniature dungeons like they were in Breath of the Wild, where you've got to solve these either physics-based puzzles, like Ryan was talking about in the Pathless. There's a lot of shooting arrows through flames to light other flames. There's lots of those things scattered throughout the world. I love how it tracks everything. So like when you complete something in the world, it like removes it from the map, which for a collector of trying to do everything is fantastic. Also, every little event in the world goes towards something. That was one of the big things about this game. There's like no wasted stuff. So every shrine, every puzzle, every combat encounter that you complete gives you things that you can use to upgrade. So like there's a main hub you can go back to, and there's like 5 different things you can upgrade. So you can upgrade your health, you can upgrade your stamina. Yes, there's stamina that's used for climbing and performing special moves. You can upgrade your weapon power. You can upgrade your arrow capacity. You can upgrade the armor. So the way the armor works is you can get different pieces of armor that are themed after different things in the world, and you can change, like you can transmog them to make them look like. So if you like a piece, you can transmog it to another one. But the armor doesn't have stats on it. Instead, it has like a perk. So each piece of armor will give you a perk. So for example, one of them will be like, your hits do 30% more damage when you're at full health. And there's only one perk per piece of armor. You can upgrade the armor to get a better perk once it's fully upgraded. And the nice thing is when you upgrade your armor, it upgrades across the board. So regardless of which piece you're wearing, you can it'll contain all the upgrades that you do. There's also world challenges you can do. Those give you things called, what are they called? The coins of the dead. What do they call those? From Greek mythology that you give to the river Styx.
Charon. I don't remember what the coins are called.
You're right. Chakron coins.
Charon.
Yeah.
Charon's.
You get Charon coins, and those coins are used to upgrade things in your skill tree. So like if you want your arrows, you can control your arrows, like you can shoot a special arrow that like you can guide, and one of the upgrade paths for that is you can slow it up and or speed it up and slow it down. So
Charles Obel is what it's Charon's Obel. That's what they're called.
Okay.
Apparently.
Yeah, it's called a Charon. Yeah, it's a Charon coin, and those are what you use to upgrade like your skill tree.
Do you meet him? Like, is he a person in the world? Because he's the guy that takes you across river Styx.
No, those are just his coins.
Oh, okay.
There's 4 main gods that you... Basically, the island's been cursed, and all of the gods have been transformed into something like Aphrodite was turned into a tree. Ares is turned into a chicken.
That's about right.
So, like, all the characters have been turned into something, and you have to go kind of do their quests in order to turn them back into gods. And then once you do that, they give you 3 blessings as you continuously do their quest line. And again, those are like, they're like perks.
This is 2 pretty in-depth Greek mythology games this year.
I know, right? Like, it's weird.
It's the second one in a row for this team.
Yeah, like this team
That's
went
true,
literally.
yeah.
This team literally went from realistic, kind of Assassin's Creed-y style Greek mythology to this more like Saturday morning cartoon one. And I really like this game.
Do you want me to hurt you, Ken?
I don't know.
This team should be doing Beyond Good and Evil too. They made a Zelda clone.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
then
this game is...
They did a cartoony one of that.
I will tell you this is the first game that I am legit stoked to play the DLC, because the DLC takes place in, like, Mythic China.
Fuck off.
And I'm like, I've got to have that DLC.
I knew I was going to get this game this week, but God damn it.
Now, I'll give you the couple things I didn't like. Having to watch the animation every time you upgrade, I really wish you could skip it. And when you finish the game, there's like this little message pops up like every other open world game. Hey, y'all, this is a point of no return. Once you do this is the end of the game. I wanted to go back into the world to like clean up the mess, and it didn't really give me a good save for that, which is severely disappointing because it's one of those games I immediately wanted to go back in and clean up the world. I can get there, but I have to do some stuff before I can actually get out and do it, and it's kind of frustrating.
They do that twice in Watch Dogs Legion. They tell you twice, like, this is the point of no return.
Yeah.
They do that twice in The Witcher 3.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, but The Witcher 3,
True.
you are making choices throughout. So, like, I feel like they should at some point give you the option to be like, maybe I don't want to make this choice right now. But in Watch Dogs, it's like, you have, this is it, man. Like, this is the only mission you have right now. And, like, all the side quests are kind of blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, do you want it? And, like, you return right after. Like, the plot ends and you still have stuff you can do after the plot. It's just twice in the game. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. In Immortals Phoenix Rising, when it tells you, like, this is the end, you think it's literally the final boss battle. Nah, dog. There's like 2 or 3 hours after that. You got to climb a mountain.
Immortals Phoenix Wright. Objection.
Immortals Phoenix Wright? Yeah. I might play that
That's
game.
still a horrible, horrible name.
I don't know. Gods and Monsters was a better name.
Gods and Monsters is a fantastic name.
The only thing I could think of that they didn't call it that is that it might actually have like a trademark or a copyright or something with Warner Brothers, because they have the Gods and Monsters DC universe. So that's it.
I mean, it's entirely possible, but yeah, like, Phoenix is the name of the character. So, I don't know.
This whole thing just reminds me, Anthony will get it. Patrice O'Neill talking about sci-fi original movies and how they change the names. He's like, if Sci-Fi Channel did Jurassic Park, he would call it Dinosaur Forest.
It's one of the best bits.
It is. It's so good.
God
So,
damn it.
yeah. Buy this game. It's going to be. I know Cyberpunk has a perfect opportunity to also be my game of the year, but if I had to pick right now, I'd have to have a long conversation with myself between Ghost of Tsushima.
Between those two?
Yep. Those two are my favorite games of the year. With Yakuza right behind it. God, there's been so many great fucking games.
I was about to say, I was like, where does Yakuza fit in this? Because it seems like you were like, this has got to be like game of the year, right?
I mean, it would be within a year without Ghost of Tsushima and Immortals Phoenix Rising.
There's a game I forgot to talk about that I played. I started at Battletoads.
I like that game.
How do
The new
people
one?
not like the humor?
I don't know. I really
It's
don't
great. And Best Kisser. And then the and then it was the delivery of the next line was, wait, what? Best Kisser? What do you mean? It's just, well, I make out with my hand every day. Duh.
I'll tell you what, in any other year, that game probably would have made my list at some point,
man.
but it probably won't this year.
It won't because, like, I still think there's 9 games in between that and Streets of Rage 4 for me.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what
the
I mean?
thing.
And
That's the
Streets of
thing.
Rage 4 was so perfect. Like, I don't want to say what I want to say about it until our top 10, but like, there's a moment in that game where I just went, this game is perfect. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's 2020 has been a shitty year, but I'll tell you what, for games, it's been a damn good year.
Also, we talked about last week, before you go on to any other games potentially, Ken, we talked about that wager. Jay was asking us which game would win. I'm going to double down on my bet of Hades, because Supergiant is beloved by people. I don't love them. I love Hades. So I could totally see them taking Game of the Year just for that alone, too. Their past works.
I mean, the people who voted for it, Hades has a very good shot, but I really think Animal Crossing is going to pull it out. We'll find out in not very long. It's December 10th, right?
I don't remember.
Which is also the same day Cyberpunk comes out, because wow, what a fucking day that'll be.
Oh, do you have that? Do you have the news of the award that's being opened up clearly so Cyberpunk can win?
I don't know yet. I haven't got to the news yet.
All right.
We're going to do
Releases first, I understand.
releases. We can start doing PS5 and Series X. So this week, that's it for me, by the way. I played a bunch of stuff just going back to it, but as far as new games go, Immortals has literally consumed me and I've had that game for a while, like almost 2 weeks.
Yeah, that was the last time we played Overwatch. You had mentioned something to me about it.
Yep. Which is kind of funny because we don't have Cyberpunk yet, and that means there ain't going to be no review on the 10th.
I don't think we're going to get Cyberpunk.
I don't know.
When does Immortals come out again?
Next week, boss.
Tuesday.
Thursday? Oh, it's
Thursday.
Tuesday.
Is it
So
Thursday?
Thursday's Dragon Quest.
It's Thursday. You're right.
Okay, so Dragon Quest is Tuesday.
I mean, we're spoiling the releases here, guys. Come on.
Oh, God forbid.
Sorry, man. Heaven forbid 2 seconds from now you...
This week on PS5, Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition. I'm assuming I don't know what the fuck that is. Because that game launched. So Spirit of the North Enhanced Edition, updates for Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, also coming to Xbox. Worms Rumble, which is in news because it's a PlayStation Plus game for the month. Haven and Immortals Phoenix Rising, and then on Friday we're getting the next gen upgrades to FIFA 21 and Madden NFL 21. And that's it for new consoles, I think, right? Yep, that's it for new consoles. For the old ones, what's coming out for the old ones? They're now old, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Chronos Before the Ashes, which is a prequel to Remnant from the Ashes.
Really? Already?
It's like a cheap Dark Souls. Sword and board, kind of that.
Oh, so you're not using guns anymore?
No, it's just melee.
Oh. I don't know if I want to play that game then.
Oh, well, there you go.
I'm looking at it. Chronos is a 2016 role-playing game for Oculus Rift. They are overhauling it. That's why it's. I I'm sure it is related to the other one, but they've gone back and gave it the other title. So this game's been out before, just in VR.
I did not realize that Remnant from the Ashes was a sequel.
Yeah, it's even got
Neither
the
did I.
red blocks that you touch that you can use to fast travel.
I had no idea. I even reviewed that game. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, well, the prequel is coming to consoles this week. Also this week we got Empire of Sin, which is John Romero's new game.
Is that next week? Yep. Holy shit! I'm playing that.
I didn't know you were interested in that.
Oh, dude, are you kidding me? I've been following that since they announced it. A 1930s gangster XCOM game? Hell yeah, I'm in.
Well, that's out on Tuesday, along with Red Dead Online as a standalone game. Santa's Christmas Adventure. Here we go.
Now, wait a minute. Is Empire of Sin coming to like Xbox, PlayStation?
Yeah, Xbox, PlayStation, PC. Yep.
I wonder if they're going to release a Series X version.
I don't know. I mean, you'll get it, I assume, if they do, but I don't know.
It's coming out on Switch as well.
Oh, don't buy that version.
Yeah.
That game doesn't look like the graphical powerhouse that it is. It's an XCOM game.
Yeah, but you still want it to be sharp because that text is, a lot of little text.
Yeah, that's true. I'm really excited for that game.
Somehow, Don't Nod has another game coming out this week. Twin Mirror.
What the hell is that?
It's a Don't Nod game. It's another fucking.
it's another one of those Don't Nod
Okay,
games.
well, first off, Don't Nod has made other games other than that.
Yeah, they made a really mediocre action game called Remember Me.
They sure
But
did.
that was a long time ago. Now they just make those.
It's an adventure game played from the third-person view. How have I never heard of this?
It's coming
When
out.
you go to a Mind Palace, this is... Okay, well, spoiler, I suppose. I just read Mind Palace, so clearly this has got Cthulhu stuff in it.
Well, that's out this week.
Co-produced by Shibuya Productions.
Shibuya.
Where do you think they're based out of?
Canada.
No, Monaco.
Monaco?
you thought it was obvious. No.
Shibuya.
Never
Shibuya.
heard of this. What the fuck?
I have never
make
heard
it-
of this either.
If I ever make a game studio, it's going to be called Shipoopy. Immortals Phoenix Rising, also coming to PS4 and Xbox One. Onaria Crimes, whatever that is. Fogs, Phogs, with an exclamation point, all capitals. Fogs.
Hey, Ken, by the way, what did you play Immortals on? Xbox?
Yeah, Series X.
What was the game that you just mentioned, Ken?
Fogs.
Flogs?
Fogs. Phogs, exclamation point. Some kind of dog game. I
Oh
think.
yes, I talked about this. You have the two dogs that are like connected through like a tube, like it's two dog heads, and you control both dog heads. I played the demo on Steam. It was humorous because at one point you had to solve a puzzle using the fogs by connecting one head to a water spout and then using the other head like the end of a hose to spray water.
That's out this week, along with Wildfire, Dark Complete Edition.
The vampire game?
No, it's DARQ.
Okay.
That's a what's it called? Type of game, Limbo-esque type game.
Gotcha.
Dragon Quest XI S Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition.
Yay!
John Wick Hex.
I feel like that's been out forever, but did it
It's
get
coming
delayed?
to consoles now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Peaky Blinders Mastermind.
I'm sure that's going to be
Did
a
they
great
not
game.
did we not just have a Peaky Blinders game?
Xbox is also getting a lot of the same stuff, as well as Haven is out this week. Duck Life Adventure. Guntastic. 9 Witches Family Disruption. Ruinverse, and Drew, the game I accidentally broke embargo for, Shoot One Up DX, because that had an embargo for a reason.
So can I talk about that?
I don't fucking know. Does it matter?
I mean, it's actually a really cool game.
Well, I don't think the embargo is up till Tuesday.
Okay.
That's what I've got your review scheduled for.
Forget I said anything then.
Okay, so I got Duck Life Adventure. That looks like crap. Ruinverse is one of those RPGs from RPG Maker. And what was the other one I missed, Ken?
Guntastic?
That's the one. Let's see. Do we have 3 out of 3
I
terrible?
haven't even got the Switch yet, dude. Calm down.
Drew's going to end up in the embargo jail for saying that game sounds kind of cool, or it was kind of cool.
That review was posted for about a half hour before I realized there was an embargo.
3 weeks ago.
The developer's going to be like, "Hey, that guy said our game was cool before we allowed him to."
What's
Oh man, I just got a text message.
The
Oh,
game
never
has
mind.
been for the Switch for like a month.
Guntastic looks kind of okay. It looks like one of those 4-player versus arena things, but it looks like it's got some pretty good art. So maybe
So
it's
done
good.
with those games, though.
Yeah, I've never been interested, but if that's your thing, that's your thing.
All right, the Nintendo Switch this week is Empire
I'm
of
pretty sure the first one was on.
Remnant from the Ashes
Remnant.
was not on the Switch.
Are you sure?
I don't think so.
Give me a second.
Oh, also,
Nope. Never
is
mind.
Phoenix Rising, is that going to be smart delivery? So if you get the Xbox One version, do you get the Series X version?
Yeah, there's only one version on the store.
Gotcha.
It's Ubisoft, so
Sam and Max, Save the World Remastered. Sheeran, The Wonder, The Tower of Fortune, and The Dice of Fate. That's a lot.
that's a
long
mystery
title.
dungeon game, so have fun with that.
Absolute Drift, Baila Latino, Biz Builder Deluxe, Cyb 6 Hearts. I can't even say that word. Death Tales. Woo. Doggone Golfing. Sorry.
That was good.
Fault Milestone 2 Side Above. That's a
What?
fucking title.
I played the first one. It was the same title, only. No, I'm just kidding. I can't even finish that joke. It was too complicated for me to even remember the title to make the joke I was going to make.
What's weird is the title is all lowercase with a colon before above,
Oh well.
which makes it even more confusing. I don't. Gun Pig, Firepower for Hire.
Gun Pig.
Gun Pig.
Gun Pig.
Are you looking that up too, Drew?
No.
It's a
He don't do that more. He's retired from that.
it's a
That's
sci-fi
definitely
top.
a game that sounds like it takes place in Georgia.
It's a sci-fi top-down twin-stick shooter with 9 weapons, 3 alts, and secret hidden collectibles. It looks
Of course.
there. It looks like a game that's there.
Liberated Enhanced Edition, Morbid, The 7 Acolytes, Outbreak, The New Nightmare, Pretty Princess Party. Oh wow, this is another big title. Quiplash 2, Interlational, I guess that's what you use. International, the Say Anything party game.
So it's separate from Jackbox, okay.
I mean, it's on the Switch, why not? Taiko no Tatsujin Rhythmic Adventure Pack, Wildfire, Commandos 2 HD Remastered, Fire Emblem, Shadow Dragon, and the Blade of Light Anniversary Edition. That's the NES game, right?
Yeah. Make sure to get your glass cartridge, everybody.
Fitness Boxing 2 Rhythm and Exercise, Futoshiki Math, Korg Gadget for Nintendo Switch, Ninjin Clash of Carrots, Paw Paw Paw, and Steampunk Tower 2.
Paw.
Paw Paw Paw. That's what it's called. Paw Paw Paw. Alright, let's do your free games for the month. PlayStation Plus, you get Just Cause 4, Rocket Arena, and Worms Rumble for the PS5.
Oh boy, Rocket Arena.
Yeah, like that game, everybody got a free copy of that. They gave that out with like Cheerios.
Hey man, I see you're buying a McDonald's from the
want a
McDonald's
copy of
deals
Rocket
menu.
Arena?
It's $1 for the chicken burger you ordered, but here's a copy of Rocket Arena. Please take them.
I really want a chicken burger now. What the hell?
we were
Games.
going to talk about food eventually. I just beat everybody to the punch.
Games with gold this month. The Elite collection of Xbox titles.
Just sad.
For Xbox One, you get The Raven Remastered, as well as Bleed 2. Then for Xbox 360, you get Saints Row Get Out of Hell and Stacking.
Stacking's the one that I would suggest playing.
Those are your free games.
Yep.
As I mentioned, Red Dead Online is coming as a standalone. According to a financial report, Square Enix has not managed to recoup the development costs for Marvel's Avengers.
Kind of figured that would happen.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
How much was that game?
Too much.
Too much.
Oh, wasn't it like $60 million?
It is a lot. I mean, we're talking, 3 years in development and a Marvel license?
Yeah. Yeah.
Another game is getting a free next-gen upgrade, and this time, boy, it's going to be purty. Metro Exodus is getting a free Series X and PS5 upgrade, and the developer has also announced there is a new Metro game in development.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, that game series that keeps the studio afloat, we're making another one.
Also, another game is getting a free next-gen upgrade, and that would be Greedfall.
Oh, really?
And they've announced there's going to be more stuff to announce later on, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Good.
they're adding stuff to that version of the game.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's a tremendous game.
It's their first real sort of success, I would say.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. As far as a commercial success goes, yes.
Well, I mean, even critically, it was received well, unlike, the Technomancer and Bound by Flame, which are fine games. I never played Technomancer, but...
Yeah, I didn't either, but I loved Bound by Flame.
I hope that the Greedfall on PS5 has save transfers, because I really, as much as I loved the game, don't want to play through all 40 hours of it again to experience whatever this additional content is.
I never started it. Well, I started it, but I never got into it. So maybe I'll check it out.
Very good. Again, I know I mentioned it before when I was playing through the game, but if you're a fan of Dragon Age or, really any of the sort of BioWare RPGs, it's one you'll enjoy for sure.
Picked it up for like $20 about 4 months ago.
You should play it, Drew. You'll like it.
I'm sure I will. I just when can I play it?
Yeah, I know.
When can I
cut out a chunk of that Yakuza stuff, because literally that's going to take you forever.
All right, let's talk about the most important DLC that came out this week.
The voice pack.
The Mortal Kombat movie pack from 1995, which contains the voice actors from the movie. So good.
Yeah.
So good. Christopher Lambert as Raiden.
Yeah.
We finally get rid of Ronda Rousey as Sonya.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah. I mean, she's still in there if you don't pick the skin, which sucks. But
what's that woman's name?
Brigitte Wilson?
Yeah, Brigitte Wilson.
Now, I'll give you extra cookies if you can tell me who played Johnny Cage, because he also does the voice.
I have no idea.
Could not tell you his name.
Lyndon Ashby.
Has he done anything?
No, I doubt it.
Okay.
But
I'm about to say, Mr. Lambert over there, I don't know how much he's done either.
Man, hearing them with the voice lines is real good. It's real good. So yeah, that's the most important DLC that came out this week.
Although I don't think the Johnny Cage one is as impactful, because I feel like pretty much all the voice acted Mortal Kombats that have come out since the movie, the guy's doing a Johnny Cage impression. So
sure. Apparently Bethesda accidentally released Steel Dawn DLC for Fallout 76 and just said, fuck it.
Just left it out.
Yeah, just left it out. Like, that's good.
I mean, at the end of the day, why not? Right? It's already out there. Just say fuck it.
The Lyndon Ashby, because I was curious to know what he's been doing. He had a pretty extensive role on the show Teen Wolf. I know none of us watched that. I'm sure none of us watched that, but for quite a while. And then he's constantly acting and stuff.
Oh, good for
But his
him.
only video game credit is Mortal Kombat 11.
Hey, I don't. Most of the news this week has been deals. Do y'all buy anything?
No.
No.
Drew said that was like a fucking no.
I'm still recouping from my $500 purchase.
All mine was digital stuff, and it came nowhere close to buying a new console price. The most expensive thing I bought was Crash 4.
What about 2 consoles? Because that's what I did. Yeah. I'm still scrolling through. I don't. Yeah, everything is a deal.
Also, Christopher Lambert was apparently on the blacklist.
It makes sense.
One episode?
No, multiple. Like
Really?
it looks like a season. Yeah, he was a consistent character. NCIS for quite some time. These are all actors that did a bunch of stuff that you just don't watch.
A bunch of stuff your parents watch.
Yes, exactly.
I remember they changed Raiden to Dexter's dad in the second movie.
Oh.
That second movie did a lot of things that it shouldn't have done.
True story.
Basically,
What's that guy's name?
I don't know his name.
I don't remember his name.
I know that dude. He's like that dude that you know, but I don't know what the fuck he's.
He was in The Warriors. That was like his first big movie.
James Remar.
James Remar, thank you. He was Dexter's dad in the entire series of Dexter.
And
they changed most of the characters. Well, they changed Sonya. They changed Jax. They changed everybody changed.
I can't even remember who Sonya was in the second.
I don't think anybody knows her. I don't think she's done anything.
Her last credit before Mortal Kombat was 2008.
Yeah, she was a no-name. Like that whole second movie is like a bunch of no-name nobodies. It's a bad movie.
Well, to be honest with you, I only remember the original Sonya Blade from Billy Madison and Last Action Hero.
She's the only one that hasn't done anything since like 2008.
Yeah.
I'll talk about the one from the second movie.
I don't give a shit. Who the fuck are they?
But at the same time, you still know Brigitte Wilson from those. I mean, those are 3 pretty big roles.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You're asking too much of somebody that I saw in like 3 movies I don't really care for, to be honest with you.
You didn't like the first Mortal Kombat movie?
No, let me rephrase that. In character roles, I don't really care for.
Okay.
I gotta know this now. I
didn't know anybody didn't like the first Mortal Kombat movie.
First Mortal
Kombat's a pretty good, accurate representation of what Mortal Kombat was.
The CGI is horrible now.
Oh, sure. But that's anything from that time period, really.
Sandra Hess was Sonya in the second movie. And her number 1 acting credit is Mortal Kombat Annihilation, followed by Encino Man.
Oh, God. Wow. No wheezing the juice, Sandra.
No kidding.
She was also in on like a season of NCIS. Congratulations. That seems like the place where
that's where where 90s actors go is shows your parents watch.
What's funny about this is if you look at the credits for Mortal Kombat Annihilation, there is a person who played Shinnok, but I don't think they ever name drop him as Shinnok in the movie.
Yeah, I don't think so either. They might.
If they do,
it's been so long since I've seen that movie.
There's an actor credit for Ermac, which still makes me chuckle.
The guy who played Shao Kahn in the second movie,
Brian Thompson.
He's been in other things. Like I know his face.
Dude, he was in Cobra. He was the villain in Cobra. He was in the first Terminator.
He was in X-Files, right?
Yeah, Alien Bounty Hunter on the X-Files.
Yes, that's where I remember him from. He was in X-Files. He was a recurring character there.
I remember him from Cobra because I remember that movie very vividly for some reason.
Without looking, who's Reptile in the second Mortal Kombat movie?
I have no fucking clue.
I have no idea.
Ray Park.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. I mean,
I mean, Ray Park.
I probably should have guessed Ray Park because I think Ray Park is just about the answer to every question as it relates to who played this martial artist in this martial arts movie.
J.J. Perry played Scorpion, Cyrax, and Noob, but Ed Boon did the voice of Scorpion.
Of course, Ed Boon did the voice.
Of course he did.
I'll give you $1 if you could name the Sindel actress without looking.
Oh, God.
I've seen her in other things before. That's the thing.
According to this, she was in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Wild Wild West.
Ooh, Jim West, Desperado.
Yes.
And NCIS?
And NCIS.
I tell you what, it's like a Mortal Kombat Annihilation reunion.
All of them up on the NCIS, I tell you. She was in a movie called Dickwad.
Well,
she was in an episode of Boy Meets World. Her name is Musetta Vander. That name means nothing because nobody knows
Vander.
it.
Nobody from the first movie came to the second one, right?
Talisa Soto and Liu Kang.
And Liu Kang?
Robin
Shue. Yep. Both of them came from the first movie. And that was it.
Jeez.
Yeah, that second movie. I'm really interested to see what the new movie is going to be.
I really wish they would have done that little short that they did.
Oh, they did 2 of them. Yeah,
they did 2 of them. The short where it was kind of grounded in reality.
Yeah, there's 2 seasons of that.
No. I'm thinking of the one with the guy Spawn guy.
Yeah, there's 2 of those. There's 2 seasons of those.
They brought him back?
Yeah, they did a whole. It's basically 2 movies.
The one where Baraka is actually some weird doctor who surgically inserted these blades into his arm.
Yep, I'm gonna say I gotta remember the name of them. There's 2 of them,
yeah,
Legacy or something like that.
Something like that.
Hold on, I gotta look this up. But yeah, they made 2 seasons of it.
There's Legacy
and Conquest,
and it's based off of the short film Rebirth.
Yep, Mortal Kombat Legacy had. There's 2 seasons of it, 2011, 2013.
Also, it's Michael I think
Michael
it's Jai
White.
Yeah.
There's 9 episodes in season 1.
Spawn is what I know.
Yeah, but Black Dynamite is an amazing movie, and everybody should watch that.
Yeah, there's 19
Shut
episodes.
The fuck up before you.
I don't even have to look. I know it's you,
motherfucker. You know who else is it? You know who's in Mortal Kombat Legacy? You know who plays Johnny Cage?
In the second season?
Come on, I'm waiting.
The first season's Matt Mullins.
Second season, Casper Van Dien.
Oh God, Casper Van Dien.
Yep.
Can he play fight?
Can he act? No. Can he play fight? Also no.
That thing is good though.
I believe it, good. But can he pretend to fight people?
He fights Ermac in season 2, if I remember correctly.
Cool, I guess.
Yeah, I enjoyed those. Those were very good.
Dean.
I haven't seen Johnny Rico in a long time. I'm looking him up now. Woo.
Johnny Rico.
I mean, people get old, Drew.
Speaking of, never mind.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. I'm seeing a lot of stuff here.
There's your Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, this is some great radio there, Drew. I'm seeing some stuff. Thanks, man. Thanks for this.
No, I'm just looking at I'm looking at his. He's still working a lot, actually.
Casper Van Dien.
Yeah.
We need a generic white guy, but we also
he's married to somebody famous too, isn't he? Or maybe was married to somebody famous.
Spouse Catherine Oxenberg and then Carrie Mitchum.
Oh, okay, maybe
so
not.
So the answer is no.
We got some tweets. What else? What you got? What?
Character launched on Soul Calibur 6 if you're still playing it.
Oh, they released a new character? I didn't even see that.
Huang? I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Huang?
Yeah. Hwang.
Oh, then it's Huang.
Is Huang? Okay.
Yeah, Huang.
Yeah, he's in there now. I'm just quickly scrolling through Reddit. That's where I get my news if I need to. Saga Frontier Remastered has been announced, which looks good.
I am shocked that Soul Calibur drops a character and nobody even mentions it.
Yep, it's been like that for a while. Unfortunately.
Oh, that's where I knew Casper Van Dien's wife. His wife, or his daughter, maybe. Yes, his daughter was in. Maybe it's his stepdaughter. Was in that cult that the girl from Smallville helped run.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mac?
right.
Yeah.
Nexus.
Nexium or whatever it is.
Nexium. Yep, that's it.
Yeah, that's where I knew something about his wife.
Didn't the Mac lady get sent to jail?
Yep.
Prison?
Yeah, she's in prison. And in fact, they've done interviews with Rosenbaum and stuff, and they won't talk about it.
What's her name was also in it, but wasn't part of the problem. The one that ended up playing Chun-Li in that terrible movie.
Oh, Kristen Kruk.
Oh, Kristen Kruk.
Yeah, she was in it too. That's a movie I think everybody should watch, but just watch the parts of
Nash. Chris Klein. Chris Klein.
His parts are the only parts that are worth watching. There's somebody who's edited them all together. They are hilarious. I don't know. Listen, he could be our next Nicolas Cage in all the right ways. And I mean, as a terrible actor. Oh, God, that's great.
Yeah, he's rough.
So bad.
That's funny. All right, tweets. Andy writes in and says, seeing some posts online about hardware, software issues with the new consoles. What have you all experienced, if anything? What information have you seen circulating? So I know, Wombat, you talked about your problems earlier. I talked about my problems earlier. There's also an issue with Call of Duty. Call of Duty crashes my Xbox constantly. So I had to stop playing it until they fix it. Also saw a friend of the show, Futter, his PS5 is going back for repairs.
Yep.
What's going on with it?
It's just shutting down.
Just bricked?
Yep.
So, what is with the PS5 rest mode thing?
Don't turn it on.
I mean, so to be fair, this is the first time I have had an issue with it this morning, but mine wouldn't. The system booted, the blue lights came on, and it tricked my TV into thinking there was an output, but it was just a black screen.
So, rest mode. Tell me what rest mode is exactly, because I've always put my PlayStation 4 into rest mode.
Yeah,
is that what we're
thing?
It's the same thing?
Same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah,
So
where instead of turning it off, it's got the yellow lights, and it can still download and can still power controllers and stuff.
Right.
Yep.
That's
same thing.
causing issues, as is a lot of people are having issues with external drives. Like if you plug one in, it'll fuck up the system.
Yep, I had that issue.
Yep. So there's a lot of things that you really want to do with the system, you probably shouldn't do right now because it could mess it up.
Has anybody had any issues with the Xbox version of that?
Not that I'm aware of on rest mode. External hard drives work flawlessly from what I've heard. Xbox's issues seem to be stemming a lot from fucking Call of Duty.
Unoptimized video games.
Yeah, Call of Duty literally, here's the funny thing. If you play Call of Duty next...
Stay, you goddamn son of a bitch.
Did you bring him in?
Did you not just bring him in?
No, he just came in.
What the fuck is going on?
I'm confused right now. Let's hurry up and finish the show before he decides to leave again, because I don't even know what's happening right now. Tweet from oh god, Rufus says, guys, have you read the stories and seen the tweets of people having their PS5 deliveries stolen by Amazon drivers? IGN wrote a pretty good article.
I did hear that. I did not read the article, but I did hear about it.
Isn't it like replacing it with like cat food or something? Wasn't that the joke?
There have been that I think is a different problem. But yes, there have been some where people got their PS5s delivered and they were, maybe it's the same problem, and they were replaced with, heavy stuff like cat litter and that kind of junk.
Wonderful.
This launch has been tumultuous.
You know, I was listening to a podcast where somebody said, "Oh, it's just as bad as every other launch." Abso-fucking-lutely not, because the websites aren't set up to handle this much traffic, even though they should be at this point, and no one's giving these out in the right time. Like, they just threw them out into the world before they were supposed to, so that made it harder to get pre-orders. Like, it's been a nightmare, and then just, then you have to wait for delivery instead of just being able to pick it up in the store, because people are trying to do the right thing by not going to stores, but then you don't get it right away. It's been a nightmare. This is the worst launch of anything.
It's been very bad.
Because we can't even say that, like, oh, they were just low stocked, or oh, it was a bunch of scalpers waiting in line. Like, everything was online. It just invited a bunch of scalpers because they have bots that do it for them. And just the nightmare of logistics of the whole thing, like from the internet access to getting it to your house. And then you get it to your house and your PlayStation 5 decides to shit the bed. Like Craig. You hear me, you son of a bitch? No, you're listening.
Craig.
Yeah, no, it's fucked up. All right, we got a few tweets in the show. Dustin says Ori was snubbed for Game of the Year nominee. Also, Demon's Souls and Spider-Man seem to make the cut. Spider-Man? Was that? I'm trying to remember. Spider-Man wasn't on Game of the Year, was it?
I don't know.
None of us bet on Spider-Man.
That was not on the list. Game Awards?
Yeah, I don't remember it being on the list.
Game Awards. 2020 nominees. I am almost certain that was not.
It'll end up next year.
I doubt it will. It'll be forgotten.
People will forget about it by then. Yeah.
That's
like Jedi.
That's the problem with these awards. When these games don't make the cut, they just get forgot.
For Game of the Year, those are not on the list. That's not our choice. That was not our Game of the Year either.
For anything, did it make the cut?
Not for Game of the Year, but let's take a look quickly and see. I'm sorry, the Game Awards site is a piece of shit. No, it's very nice. Like, I don't want to crap on it, but it's just like best game direction. Nope, Spider-Man there. We're just looking for Spider-Man.
I just was curious if it was nominated at all. Like, what is the cutoff date? Is there like a cutoff date?
Gotta say it's been cut off because nope. Best performance. I'm going to pronounce his name wrong. Naji Jeter as Miles Morales.
Okay, so it did make it.
Yeah.
Okay. So it wasn't. So Demon Souls being snubbed is him saying Ori and Demon Souls were snubbed.
No, Ori did get art direction, I think. Ori's nominated.
Well, he's specifically saying Game of the Year.
Best art direction, Ori. Best score and music, Ori.
But that's not Game of the Year.
But I understand. I'm just saying they're there.
Like I said last week, Doom Eternal was the only game that was on that list I don't feel deserved to be on that list. I could see Ori being on there, but here's the thing. Ori's one of those games that's really fucking good that nobody fucking gives any credit to. Like, nobody talks about that game, and it's so fucking good.
Game I need to get into more.
Yeah, that game is so good. And I'm glad Spider-Man's not on Game of the Year, because that certainly... I mean, it's fine, but I don't think it's up there with the rest of those.
I'll just ask the person that finished it. Is it as emotionally impactful as the first Spider-Man?
Yes.
Okay.
It does it in a shorter amount of time.
I understand that. I was just curious.
Yes.
All right. then yeah, I think it got snubbed because that first game was amazing. That's not a Spider-Man joke, but yes, it was
He also says started Ghost of Tsushima, and so far I'm not that into it. Combat isn't as tight as it should be, and the story cutscenes contrast with how I play. Don't tell me I'm being dishonorable when the only stealth kills are the ones I'm forced to do.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. I guess we'll agree to disagree.
You're entitled to your opinion, but
no, it's the game is very clearly about what it's about, and being like, well, the only time I stealth kill anybody is when the game makes me. So why is the game acting like I stealth kill people? Well, because you did. I mean, the game made you, yes, in service of its own narrative, just like every game makes you do things in service of its own narrative.
Yeah, and it's only there's a big difference because I've said it about another game that was nominated for Game of the Year, The Last of Us Part 2 and The Last of Us. There's a big difference between the character being told off and to be fair, it's this weird, like, it's honor, don't you understand? And your character clearly having to do something, right, to save his people.
Yeah.
And The Last of Us 2, where it's like, the dog attacked you, how dare you kill that dog? Like, but you set this up. Like, you do get that choice, but, like, the situation that you are... Like, one of them is punishing the character. It doesn't feel like I'm being told off as the player at any point. Because I know the cutscene that the person reading is referencing. And I thought it was because of how many people I was stealth killing to do the right.
The only that's part of it, but again, I mean, agree to disagree.
I have good news for you. That's the last cut of this episode. That's because we just called it quits. We were pretty close, but Craig leaving again just kind of killed the morale. And Ken decided that it was time to go watch football because fuck it. At this point, Craig has been a nuisance. He's not only ruined the main podcast the last couple of weeks, but he also ruined Phoenix Down when we switched to Discord, and we are unsure why he is disconnecting consistently. So I'm here to ask everybody listening to this if they have any suggestions whatsoever on how to record a Discord conversation. Please let us know. You can send an email in. I don't remember those off the top of my head because why would I send an email to myself? You can listen to last week's episode for that, or you can hit us up at N4G Podcast or ZTGD Content at Twitter, because at this point, everybody's kind of losing their mind. It's funny in the moment for the first couple times, but I think we were up to 4 this week, and it was just a mess because we couldn't even tell if he was in the call or not. Some people were saying he was, some people were saying he was not, and sometimes he was recording the conversation and sometimes he wasn't, even though it would say otherwise. So yeah, Craig is fired. He's being removed from his position on the site, and I'm going to potentially have to use a real mixing board next week, which means I'm going to come through kind of like this, and everybody else is going to sound kind of messy because they're coming over the internet. So if we could get something that records us kind of all from the main chat, that kind of keeps it a consistent sound, so it won't be as unpleasurable as this is in comparison to the main podcast. So yes, please send us suggestions. We need them. And this is where Ken's probably going to cut in the
Alrighty, and it goes something like this.
Epic fail. Welcome to the N4G Podcast.
This is going to be a very interesting episode.
Gather time.
Greetings, programs. I got lost trying to find my way to the secret underground N4G Radio lair.
The Wombat. And
I always live in angry.
Killer Wolverine. Play games, not consoles. No fanboys allowed.
And then I killed the dragon. 8.0.
Killed the dragon.